Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the man himself, the bard from Stratford-upon-Avon, the man who wrote many plays and poems, invented the word eyeballs, and was born on April Fool's Day, most unfortunately. I am talking about none other than the great William Shakespeare. In honor of that, I wore my Shakespeare pin, which also came with a pin in the shape of the Globe Theatre, which is the theater where most of Shakespeare's plays were performed. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Shakespeare primarily through the means of this book that I found in a thrift store approximately 4 years ago, and it is called Shakespeare, the Life, the Work, and the Classics. And it was published in collaboration with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Let's get started. Sorry about that, guys. This video is going to be a little awkward because this book is so big that if I want to show it, you guys have to be like, And so yeah, let's hope it goes smoothly. So one thing that's interesting about this book is that besides just being a general biographical book with stuff that I can find on Wikipedia, it also has replicas of historic documents, such as these right here, that catalog many of the major events in Shakespeare's life. So I will be actually only showing you those because, again, it's really hard to because my arm stand is very short and this book is very wide. So yeah. So the first thing that you come upon when you open this book is a little flap inside of which, oh, it's not in here, okay, it's over here. Inside of which is a little CD. So this CD, which has monologues, the most famous monologues from Shakespeare's plays, performed by, I guess, the actor that's most famous for performing them. They have, like I showed you before, these replicas of historic documents. And on the side it says what the documents are, but sometimes I can't distinguish which is which because the handwriting is very distinct from our own. It looks a lot like the kind and illuminated manuscripts and whatnot. Very archaic style of writing, so I'm just going to be taking a guess on what some of these are. This one is definitely the baptism one, I can tell because obviously it says baptism right there. And if you were to go to the month of April, which is on the other side because it starts with June, if you were to go to the month of April, down here, you would see William Shakespeare's name, but I can't see it because this has a lot of stains on it. They even reproduced the stains, come on now. And wear and tear with age. There are some more enclosures on this page, and there are 4. The first one is the bond issued by the Bishop of Worcester to William Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway. So that would be the marriage license between William and his wife, Anne. The second one is the registration of the baptism of his daughter, Susanna Shakespeare. The third one is the registration of the baptisms of William and Anne Shakespeare's twin, Hamnet and Judith. The fourth one is the registration of the burial of Hamnet. Again, baptism and death will be relatively easy, so because it says baptism and death on the top, then I can at least read that. Baptisms. Yes, this right here is the baptisms. Okay. I don't know which of the children this is for, but so baptisms. This next one is more baptisms. So that means that the last 2, or the last one, I'm missing one. No, I'm not. It's right here. Okay. That means that this right here is the burial document of Shakespeare's son, Hamnet, who died at the age of 11, and that would make this last one, which is a very odd and long shape, almost like 2 checks stuck together. That would make this the marriage license of Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway, who were married on November 28th, 1582. Do you guys remember those books those children books where they were like pop-ups and then you would open it up and it would have like a 3D scene on it and there was like little things that you could pull and interact with? It was cool. The next page is called Shakespeare's London. It is about London during Shakespeare's time, I guess. And the enclosures that we have here are twofold. An agreement of Shakespeare buying some property from a guy named William Underhill in 1597, buying his house, actually, and then a letter from his friend Richard Quinney, and in this letter his friend asks him for a loan. I'm going to assume this is the letter. It even has that imitation seal on it. Cool stuff. Imagine asking Shakespeare for a loan. What would he say? Would he quote himself to you? Probably not. Letter in which he asks for a loan. And then here's another one with a fake seal, which is no longer sticky. Well, it's a little bit sticky. The lease in which Shakespeare buys his house for himself and his family. The good thing about this book is that because you can't read several of the documents, they have transcriptions in the back so that you can know what they say. So the next chapter is about the other writers who were contemporaries of Shakespeare who were also popular during the time, such as Ben Jonson, Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Kyd, Michael Drayton, and Thomas Lodge. Turning the page, the Elizabethan stage. Here's where they talk about how stages back then were usually round, like Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. It was round so that you wouldn't be that one person on the extreme side trying to see like this. If you're on the back, are they completely round? No idea. But assuming they are, if you're in the back, you're just going to be looking at the back of everyone the whole time. Not fun. You paid money for that. You deserve better. Don't sit in the back of the circular theater. These next documents that are here are an examination of Augustine Phillips regarding the performance of Richard II, etc. I don't understand this document because they made it this big, but half of it is blank. It's really just this portion right here in which this man, Augustine Phillips, I guess, is basically doing a review of Richard II in the year 1601. Okay, next page. It's about Shakespeare's texts, and the enclosure that we have here is an extract from his first folio. And it has the opening page from the Tempest, as well as some commentary by Ben Jonson. So yeah, here we have Shakespeare. And that famous picture of him, which is one of the only very few that we have. Here we have a list of Shakespeare's plays, and the catalog of his plays, and then we have To the Memory of My Beloved Author, which is an homage to Shakespeare, like I said, by his friend Ben Jonson. And the opening page from The Tempest. Oof. What is next? The play is the thing. So they talk about the style of Shakespeare's plays, and they have some references about performances over the years. And then they go into very specific details. So first they talk about the comedies, which include A Midsummer Night's Dream and All's Well That Ends Well, I think. Yeah. They continue talking about the comedies and how they were unconventional for their time. And in here they have included an extract from the prompt book for the production of Twelfth Night in 1965. So this is a copy of this 1965 director who had right here the excerpt from the play, and he made his own notes here on the side and here. Let's see what's on the next page. The history plays, such as Henry VI, Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, Mark Antony and Cleopatra, my bad, sorry, and Julius Caesar. I have not read any of the history plays, so I know nothing about that. I am sad. More about the history plays. And then they go into the tragedies, such as we all know, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, Hamlet, and Macbeth. And the enclosure in here is we have the account of Edmund Tilney. So this would be kind of more like something like a recording of the performances. So that's that. I guess he would have the dates on either of these two columns on the sides, and then in here he would record some general information about what that performance was like. So more kind of note-keeping kind of stuff. And the other one is we have a copy of a poster from the Victorian era, 1851, advertising the performance of Othello in the Shakespeare Memorial Theatre in Stratford. There's nothing on this page. They talk more about the tragedies, and then we go on to learn about the tragedies again, specifically the Roman plays, which I also know nothing about. Late plays and collaborations, so the plays that he wrote later in life and in which he collaborated with other writers. I am no expert on the bard. Shakespeare's poems. Okay. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more beautiful and more fair. And we have enclosed in here let me find it, an account of the treasurer of the chamber noticing payment to the king's men. Okay, that makes sense. So, when Shakespeare's company became a favorite under Queen Elizabeth, and it continued under King James after her, I guess they got paid by the royal treasury. They were technically government workers. Here is the annotation of that. Again, I cannot read it. The Jacobean stage, which is basically what I said before when he's talking about Shakespeare working during the reign of King James I. The enclosures we have here is a warrant which authorized Shakespeare and his companions to perform various plays at the Globe Theatre. So I guess that would be something like a permit to perform. I guess it's this one? I do not know. Can you guys read that? Because I cannot. A account of the Master of the Great Wardrobe, which is something else right here, another form of getting paid. And you can clearly tell that this one is that because of the lines. But Shakespeare and all of his actors were supposed to get 4.5 yards of red cloth each so that they could wear their official government worker uniform thing or whatever. After a while, Shakespeare left London and returned to his hometown, and I assume spent more time with his family then because he didn't take them with him to London. The documents that go with this are his will, which is, oh no, this monstrously long document of 3 pages with blotted handwriting and more ink blots on the back, and the entry from his burial. So this is a death certificate right here. And the reason it's so long is because it has the names of everybody else from that year. So Shakespeare somewhere right there. Yeah. One thing that I think is funny is that Shakespeare, you know what he left to his wife? He left her his second best bed. That is strange. Shakespeare during the Restoration. In 1660, they talk about Shakespeare's emergence and popularity, like 100 years after his death, blah, blah, blah. Shakespeare in the 1700s. Okay, the enclosures we have here is a ticket for a Shakespeare festival in 1769. That's cool. Look at that. Look at Shakespeare right there flexing his poster. Cool stuff. And a poster, advertising the performance of his play Coriolanus. Opening this book makes me feel like I have to read more of his plays than I have. Oof. Shakespeare in the 19th century, so that would be the 1800s. Let's see what we have here. This is a prop letter written from Macbeth to Lady Macbeth. That's strange. They actually went and wrote out a whole entire letter. Let's see what is next. This is probably the petition to keep the theater open. There's a lot more stuff in here than what they say there is. I have no idea. Okay, no, never mind. This is the petition. A program from the play Cymbeline, and a very large and very fantastical ticket to his play The Twelfth Night, and you will be sitting in row F. Guys, remember when we used to be able to go to theaters? Not anymore, guys. That time is over. What do we have next? This is a design for the role of King Lear from the play King Lear, so assuming this is the king. Doesn't look very kingly. An invitation from the Queen, apparently. Yeah. Inviting you to the reopening of the Globe Theater. Interesting stuff. I did not know half of this stuff was in here because when I looked at the book earlier, this stuff was not in here. Okay, what is next? Okay, this one is in the book. Okay. This is a poster from a Japanese production of King Lear. I knew this was going to be a bad idea, but Japanese version of King Lear. This is unfortunate. You know what? Why is this book so bulky? Shakespeare and other media? Yeah, we have reached the end of this long and epic journey through Shakespeare's plays, a journey in which you have seen me struggle to show you some imitation documents because, number one, they took up the whole screen. Number two, I did not know which was which. Number three, there were some in there which were not even mentioned in the book. And number four, this book is very awkward and bulky to pick up and open. Oh no, they just fell on the ground. And open and reveal the whole great thing to you. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I also hope that you did not hear the sound of those papers crashing to the floor, because they just did. But that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!